you try to hit some cuts? I know he's played with different style golf balls. He feels like sometimes his ball spins too much, or it kind of goes back and forth. You never really know where he lives as far as when it comes to his golf ball and his equipment. He's always kind of tinkering with it to get it perfect. But it's really unique, right? It's the length of his clubs that's unique. With especially ball above your feet is going to be a challenge for certain shots, especially a wind that goes against that contouring.
What do you think? What club do you think he's hitting here? Flat carrying at 205 yards, ball speed 140. We're really getting at the top tracer range. Some info here. I also want to know, after we talk a little bit about that, where do you think he ranks in total range balls hit this week here on the T-Mobile range? I mean, he usually is near the top of that power ranking list every single week at the majors, but I'm just curious, do you think he comes? I know we have a few other guys who like to hit balls the weeks of majors. Where does Bryson land on that list?
Well, he's definitely got a top 10 streak going there. In his 9 events playing at PGA Championships, I think he's top 10 every week in that category.
We love that.
But flat carry, I assume if this is adjusted or not adjusted, if this is factoring wind, we're getting some down off the right here today. So if, let's say he's getting 10 to 12 yards of help, so really that's a 188, 186 shot. So for a standard PGA Tour player, 186 is about a 7-iron. And so for Bryson DeChambeau, you basically take 2 less of that. So this could be a 9-iron.
Okay, now explain that to people who don't
His
understand
lofts.
that about.
It's
So
just his lofts.
it's his lofts, right? But it's also that he has the single length irons. Every club in his bag, I believe, down to the lob wedge is 6-iron length.
Yes, it's either 6 or 7-iron weight.
Yeah.
But it's also the lofts that he plays with. His lofts are very, very strong, about a club and a half stronger than most guys, maybe even close to 2. And then you got to factor in that he's probably a club longer than most guys anyways, and he hits everything hard. So, and just the de-lofting nature of what he does is pretty crazy.
It's interesting seeing that the shots he's hitting that are working left to right are the ones that he's reacting to with less favorably. Like, he really is wanting to see that right to left shot shape over and over and over again. It's not like he's, I mean, you rarely, if ever, see him work the ball the other way.
Yeah, he is opposite of Big Shallow, right? Like he is not trying to get the club head to work way behind him and get his right arm to have all this sort of bend in it. You saw that little pre-rehearsal on his downswing. He's trying to get the club head looking at the ball in the downswing, where he's really trying to add. It almost looks like he's adding loft in the downswing to try to get that height in the air. And sometimes you can kind of do that when you get especially elevated ranges, especially downwind. You'll see players want to try to get their typical ball flights they're looking for. So they'll be, maybe adding a little bit of that to make sure that the ball is staying in the air a little longer.
You talked a little bit about just the entourage with him at the, walking around yesterday, playing his practice round. And I took such delight last year at the Open Championship, the practice round you walked with him where he was messing around with a non-conforming ball for fun. Talk to people about what is it like following Bryson around and listening to the conversations he's having with Greg Bodine and the level of detail. Like, where does that rank amongst player-caddy conversations and level of detail?
Well, I think he hires a support team that can answer his questions. If you're somebody that can't answer questions that Bryson's asking, you're not going to be on the team very long. And it's a very high level training mythology that Bryson DeChambeau runs day in and day out, from testing how much a 5 or 15 footer is going to move with a 10 mile an hour beyond.
I mean, if I know
better than where he started the major season, which is playing the weekend.
Yeah, starting there. But I mean, if he contends but does not win a major this year, does that feel like a failure in his mind?
Well, I think for Bryson, that would be a failure in his mind. But I think any time a player contends in a major championship, there's different factors in what sometimes leads you to winning and not winning. Sometimes somebody just plays better than you. Sometimes you get bad breaks. There's that luck component sometimes on the back nine of a Sunday. But I can guarantee you this: no player ever will ever say. It's like, I just get me there. Get me to that spot.
Yeah.
9 holes left. This is what I practice and play for. And if it doesn't work out, you go back to the drawing board and see, all right, what can I do different next time? And Bryson, luckily enough for him, he's got a lot of experience in trying to win PGA Championship. I mean, Valhalla was just that battle between him and Xander Schauffele, and then Victor Hovland joining in on the fun down the stretch as well. And then last year, of course, was an interesting one as well.